a large sum of employees working long hours, going to school full-time, and not even getting paid for the work, even though it generates millions of dollars of revenue each year. This describes your typical college athletes. College athletes are usually labeled as amateurs, therefore rendering no reason to be paid. Their likenesses are captured in video games, on shirts, hats, and they are not paid a dime for any of these types of endorsements, while the college is out making millions off of their athletes. For example, Texas A&M made $37 million on media exposure last year after Johnny Manziel was named the Heisman Trophy winner. Just another example of why athletes should be paid for their contribution to their school's revenue. Through this speech, I will highlight many of the reasons that college athletes should be paid and what the opposition's arguments to certain situations are. First, we will look at the revenue taken in by the NCAA that is a result of their sports programs. You might ask yourself, where does the NCAA get its money? Last year, $871.6 million were generated. Most of it came through broadcasting agreements with Turner CBS Sports. Now we'll go through a graph here of the breakdown. 81% was generated from television and marketing. 1% was contributions for facilities and other uses. 1% was sales and services. 11% generated from championships. 4% on investments. And 2% on eligibility center. 96% of the revenue goes directly to the Division I memberships, and 4% goes to various sporting deals and salaries within the NCAA. Next, I will go over the amount of revenue produced by colleges. On ESPN's college revenue page, in 2008 it has listed the top 40 schools with their revenue ranging from $56 million to $124 million. Ticket sales and donations make up about half of colleges' revenues. Next, I will cite some reasons on why college athletes should be paid. Nowadays, students aren't as much students first as they are athletes first. They're at a college solely to do their time, so to speak, at the college level before moving on to a higher level in sports. They generate millions of dollars of revenue to colleges through ticket sales, advertising, and licensing rights. Recently, Kevin Ware of the Louisville Cardinals NCAA men's basketball team broke his leg in a game. That did not happen from being a student, but rather being an athlete. The college itself and the NCAA made money off of him as an athlete, but does not have to pay his medical expenses as most employers would have to do. So college players have the same risks as professional players, but no rewards to reap. One argument against paying athletes is that they are getting a free education, and that may be true, but the amount of money colleges and the NCAA organization make off their athletes far outweighs the cost of a college degree. They not only play their sport or sports full-time, but also have classes to attend and assignments to do, just like any other college student. They have a much heavier workload. Coaches' salaries. Average salary for a major college head coach can range from $1.5 to $5 million, way more than any professor at the colleges are receiving. This shows college sports is a moneymaker, so why can coaches be paid a ridiculous amount when there are athletes that are left practically broke? These athletes don't need $1 million contract like professional players, because as the NCAA is quick to point out, very few will make it to the professional level. But I do think they should be paid a salary big enough to live comfortably and make it through college debt-free. I don't think that is too much to ask of the multi-million-dollar revenue giant that these athletes produce. The two major NCAA sports that generate the most income are football and men's basketball. The revenue gained off them is in turn used to prop up other sports programs that are not as popular, such as volleyball, baseball, softball, water polo, etc. My theory is if those programs can't stand on their own 2 feet and generate enough income, then why have them around? Don't rob from one successful area of business to support another, but rather pay the employees or players of the successful area their fair share and keep that moneymaker rolling. Next, we will look at the opposition and some of their weak ideas. Many are quick to point out that if we allow college players to be paid, that soon high school and middle school athletes will also want to be paid. First of all, your local high school is not making millions of dollars off an athlete, so it's ridiculous to assume that high schools would pay their players. Another argument that is contract negotiations would distract players and cause a whole different set of problems. I think a great way to fix this problem would be to set contracts at a certain value based on the position that the player plays and the minutes that they play, and not to each individual player like is done at the professional level, regardless of the college they wish to attend, as to make it fair game for each college. When players are recruited, they would be presented with contracts ranging from a minimum of 1 year to a maximum of 4 years. With this process, there would be no need for the dramatized contract negotiations that plague professional sports. I hope that the points I went over throughout this speech were clear in proving my point that college athletes should be paid. Once again, it doesn't need to be a large sum of money, but rather a small percentage of the revenue taken by the college. I think that it would add incentive for players and level the playing field a little by giving to the employees, aka players. I hope that others will follow some of the advice that I have researched the last few days and see the importance of paying the college players.